chaos, punches, and a night that spirals out of control. Subscribe now and hit the bell before this story explodes even further. I'm watching this unfold, and I can't ignore the pattern anymore. Mardi Gras, New Orleans, a city built on celebration and excess. And right in the middle of that frenzy, Shia Labeouf allegedly loses control again. Not a rumor, not a vague whisper, but a documented arrest on battery charges after what witnesses describe as escalating aggression inside a crowded bar. When I look at the sequence of events, I don't just see a celebrity meltdown. I see a collision between fame, pressure, and unresolved volatility that keeps resurfacing at the worst possible moments. The reports say it starts around 12:45 in the morning, the peak of carnival madness. Music, costumes, alcohol, adrenaline. The environment alone is a pressure cooker. Yet what strikes me isn't the chaos of Mardi Gras. It's the claim that the aggression escalated progressively. That word matters, progressively. It suggests this wasn't a single sudden spark, but a mounting tension that crossed a line when the bar manager tried to escort him out. Allegedly, he attempts to hit the manager, then punches a patron, leaves, returns, and punches another man in the nose. That sequence reads less like confusion and more like loss of impulse control, and here's where my evaluation becomes sharper. This isn't the first time Shia Labeouf's name has been tied to erratic public behavior. The industry has watched him oscillate between raw artistic brilliance and destructive public episodes. That duality fascinates audiences, but it also creates a dangerous tolerance threshold. People start framing chaos as part of the persona. I strongly disagree with that narrative. Talent can explain intensity, but it cannot justify alleged physical aggression. The moment bystanders reportedly restrain him until police arrive tells me everything about the perceived threat level in that room. Strangers don't intervene physically unless they feel the situation has crossed into real danger. That detail alone shifts this from celebrity gossip to a serious public safety incident. And yet, only hours later, he's reportedly seen dancing on Bourbon Street with release papers in his mouth. Theatrically rebellious, yes. Strategically wise, absolutely not, because that image transforms a legal issue into a spectacle, and spectacles harden public judgment faster than any court hearing. Now, I want to be precise. He has been released on his own recognizance, which legally signals that authorities did not consider him an immediate flight risk. That matters, but public perception operates on emotion, not legal nuance. And emotionally, the optics are brutal. Alleged punches, chaotic behavior across multiple bars, and a viral clip circulating online. When narrative momentum like this builds, it rarely dissipates quietly. What complicates this further is his documented history with sobriety struggles and previous legal trouble. I'm not using that history to condemn him. I'm using it to analyze the recurring cycle. He has openly credited fellow actors for helping him in the past, which shows awareness and willingness to seek support. But the industry also has a pattern of celebrating redemption arcs without fully addressing the stability required to sustain them. Relapse, whether emotional, behavioral, or situational, doesn't just impact the individual. It reshapes the public narrative around every future project attached to that name. And then there's the deeper reputational shadow, past legal disputes and allegations that, regardless of settlements or denials, continue to linger in the cultural memory. When a new arrest surfaces, it doesn't exist in isolation. It stacks onto an existing file in the audience's mind. Fair or unfair, that cumulative perception becomes the true battleground for any celebrity trying to rebuild trust. Professionally, I see a critical crossroads. If these allegations hold, the biggest threat isn't a single court date. It's the reinforcement of a long-standing image of unpredictability. Studios, insurers, and collaborators don't just evaluate talent, they evaluate risk. And risk isn't measured only in legal outcomes, but in behavioral consistency over time. Each public incident increases that perceived volatility index. However, I'm also compelled to acknowledge something else, the undeniable magnetism that keeps audiences invested in his story. Controversy doesn't erase talent. Sometimes it intensifies the myth around it, but myth building is a dangerous currency. It can elevate an artist while simultaneously isolating the person behind the persona. That isolation often amplifies the very instability fans claim to romanticize. As I look ahead to the tentative court hearing scheduled for March, I see more than a legal proceeding. I see a narrative turning point. This could either become another chapter in a recurring cycle of chaos and recovery, or the moment where sustained accountability finally reshapes the trajectory. The difference will not be decided by headlines or viral clips, but by consistent, verifiable change in behavior over time. My professional judgment, this incident, if confirmed as reported, damages credibility more than it damages marketability in the short term. But the long-term stakes are far higher. Credibility erodes slowly, project by project, until one day the industry quietly decides the risk outweighs the reward. And that shift, once it happens, is brutally difficult to reverse. So I'm left watching this unfolding drama with a mix of critical concern and cautious hope. Concern, because repeated volatility can escalate consequences. Hope, because history also shows that some of the most turbulent figures have managed to redirect their path when the cost of chaos finally became undeniable. Now I want to hear your take. Do you see this as another spiral or a wake-up call? Share your thoughts below, and subscribe so you stay ahead of every twist and revelation as this story continues to evolve. Don't let the next chapter catch you off guard.